Hey, it's Shilpa Bharaskar, and today I want to talk about a journey through a complex, complicated homeopathic case. Now, I'm really inspired today because I've just been back from an amazing road trip along the Death Valley in California. And I enjoy planning these road trips once a year where I'm completely unconnected and I'm exploring an unknown, unfamiliar territory. And the interesting part of this trip was when we went in there, we went in with no pre planning or no pre bookings whatsoever. And in short, what we did was we just landed in San Francisco and figured out our next destination as we went along each day. Now, surprisingly, we went on to take one of the most exciting road trips ever through a path and places we never thought of ever making it, when we were looking at this trip. And sometimes with complex, challenging cases, it is the same. Because although I enjoy a very high success rate in these cases, it's not like I've everything figured out at the start when I take that first consultation. And I face problems and challenges at every step of the way. And everyone does. So every complex case is like traveling through an uncharted, unfamiliar territory. And the terrain, the altitude, the weather, the temperature, it changes pretty much at every destination. It's almost like going on a road trip like this, where we made that start and then we were cruising along this beautiful coast on the Pacific Highway with some of the most breathtaking views. And then we came to this one of the most driest and hottest part of the continent with flat salt lakes and desert peaks of the Death Valley that stretch to the horizon with no living creature in sight. And then a day later we decided to move up, and the altitude changed, the temperature changed, and we reached these alpine Yosemite valleys with these solid granite rocks, all sort of intimidating peaks, the towering giant trees, and these crystal clear mirror lakes. And when you're moving through Death Valley with no soul in sight, you can never ever imagine how another terrain just 24 hours later can actually create these gigantic trees at the next destination. So it's very similar working with complex cases, because the underlying layer can change in a matter of days, and a completely opposite picture can emerge that you can never ever predict. And it would have been great if you had figured everything out at the start, but we cannot exactly predict what is the layer that's going to come up next, what's the roadblock that's going to happen next. And the more you discuss with experts who are in the game, who are working with actual complex conditions and pathologies, the more you can actually check and find in the actual follow-ups that follow with these pathological cases and these multi-miasmatic conditions, the more you realize that we all have our struggles. And there are roadblocks that you may think you never ever can predict, and you think that experts have got it all figured out, they've got it all sorted out. Like when you see us presenting these cases and these advanced conditions in those seminars and courses and conferences, and when you see those remedies miraculously unfolding every layer, no matter how complicated or how complex the case is, it may look like we've got it all figured out. It may look like we are all perfect. But the reality is that we face problems in pretty much every single complex case. And the other thing is that you realize, and I know that, looking at my path through complex cases, is that you simply cannot see through these layers at the start. And the nature of the condition is that there are tons of things that you cannot anticipate. And the fact is, you have got to deal with it as it comes. That's the difference between success and failure in these conditions. You've got to have that faith in yourself on taking the next step, and you just get that next step done. You're truly charting your course as you go along. And sometimes you get stuck along the way, and that's okay. That's what this video is all about. It's similar to golfing. I mean, no golfer ever steps out and hits the ball in the hole in one straight shot. without any deviation. It's always giving their best shot and then course correction and then another shot and course correction and so on. And when you're working through a complex case, the state will change as you move along with each remedy, with each layer. So the secret is that you have to be able to find the next step, the next tool, the next solution, and you have to learn the strategy of course correction. How do I determine what's coming next? What is it that I'll do next? So the whole idea is that you have got to be able to deal with the fact you will not be able to predict all obstacles and roadblocks, and you will not be able to find every solution in a set classical format. So you've got to pick the best tool to take to the next step as your patient goes one step at a time where they need to go. And please do not beat yourself for not getting that one perfect solution, one perfect remedy figured out in that one perfect consultation. You simply move along, deal with the next block as it comes. Small little steps that move you in the right direction. So it's Shilpa Bharaskar here, and I'm just coming back from this amazing trip, really inspired to share more on strategies of course correction and removing roadblocks in complex cases in the near future. So in the meantime, let me know your thoughts on dealing with pathologically complex cases, because I love to hear more on that, and we'll come to those dealing with roadblocks as we go along.